Hello and welcome to this Ibrox podcast. This is your immediate post-match reaction to Rangers 2, USG 1. I was going to go with the French pronunciation there of Union Saint-Gilloise, but I thought I would leave that.
Oh no, go through that again. Go with that again.
And yes, Rangers have actually secured a top 8 finish in the Europa League, which I think coming into the game tonight no one would have expected. So it's turned out to be a really positive evening. I'm joined by Tommy McIntyre. Tommy, how are you?
Yeah, spot on. I love that kind of Francais coming across there. Yeah, je m'appelle Tommy, je m'appelle Ross. J'habite Scotland, of course, and all that kind of stuff. No, you're absolutely right, and we'll talk about that at the end. But it turned out to be, we all knew it was going to be playoff up until the moment it wasn't, and that's an absolute positive.
Yeah, it ended up being a bit of a nervy game towards the end, and I think maybe when McAllister scored that header, I think the crowd wouldn't have been too bothered really, but then as soon as you've got a great chance to be in the top 8. I think Rangers were in the top 8 for maybe the last 15 minutes of the game, so it turned into a nervy one. I think at times you felt it's going to be typical Rangers where you'll fall out right at the last second, but thankfully...
I thought you took it well.
I was not happy with USG continuing to push for that goal when considering they had no chance of making it. So yeah, that wasn't great, but that's just because I'm not a big fan of the nerves. But anyway, let's get cracking analysing the game. Rangers come into the game tonight. A bit of I was going to say a wild selection, but maybe not. Leon King at that right back slot. So when we're Butland in goals, Leon King at the right back, Tavernier, Proper, Jefte, and then the rest was to be expected. I think Tommy, Raskan, Diamonde, Barami, Eagleman interestingly off the left tonight, Cherny off the right, and Dessers through the middle. Any thoughts on the team? Were you a bit surprised by that Leon King selection, and ultimately it's turned out to be a really unfortunate night for him again? He just never seems to get that break, does he, Leon King?
Yeah, I think you said that straight away. You're like, just the worst type of luck. Doesn't get it. He goes off with tries to play on with the head knock, and the head knock was just in front of us, over the left there, and then he just had to go off with it. I think you said he was pointing to his eyes and his vision as he was going off up the tunnel as well. Beyond that, no, I don't think anything else was really surprising with that selection in terms of, was it going to be Tav that was shuffled out? And there was a little bit of question mark over that at the start, but I think it was what it could only be, and unlucky for King.
I really feel for him.
I do as well. Yeah, it's a poor one tonight.
I think we can all say he got chucked in at the deep end a couple of years ago in that Champions League run, and I don't think he was really able to show his ability. And I think after that he was suffering with some confidence issues, and he's never really returned from it. And tonight he got an opportunity, and it's just unfortunate. In the first couple of minutes, he takes a head knock and he doesn't recover. And I feel for him. It is a real shame. I hope Leon King can kick on. It might not be. His long-term future might not be at Rangers, but I really do hope he goes and has a really good career somewhere else, because I think the ability is there, and it looks like he has a great attitude. And it's just really unfortunate. He just doesn't get that break.
Like you say about the attitude, you hear that behind the scenes, and he's obviously done enough to get a chance on him. What was still a big night for us as well, and then 14 minutes, and he's away. Like you said, we'll see what happens with him. Full stop. But just feel for a young player coming in and try to grab a jersey, and then all of a sudden he's straight back off with such an injury. Yeah,
absolutely. Let's hope he can turn his career around at some point. Let's jump into the game then. I didn't think both teams started. I didn't think either of them started particularly well tonight. I didn't think Rangers could find any rhythm. I thought USG showed a wee bit of glimpses at times. But again, I thought they were quite loose in possession. And then really just as I was about to send the tweet out saying that Rangers couldn't find any rhythm, Raskan puts a header in at the back post, which is always the way it goes. It's a great ball in from Tav. I think it's after a set piece. Great ball into the back post. It's maybe not something you would expect to be there. Nicholas Raskan does really well. Good header, puts it into the ground, into the far corner. And I don't know if it's what Rangers deserved at that point, but it's a great finish from Raskan, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I agree with your synopsis as well. I don't think either team started, dominating or anything like that, or put their stamp directly on the game. And it's a corner, so just right in front of us, kind of where we are sitting here right now. I think they kind of goes out and it goes back into Tav, and Tavernier whips it in there. You say Raskan's peeled off at the back post. He goes across the keeper, from right to left into the far corner, and keeper's got no chance. It's a great header, actually, to be honest with you. And the last guy you'd probably have picked to have been in there at the back post. But I think once Rangers got it settled everybody down, settled the team down. USG tried to show a little bit more after that, but it certainly got the fans in the stadium just really comfortable, and you kind of need that on a night like tonight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to pick out Tav again for the cross, because
good shout.
I think it's fair to say that James Tavernier comes under a lot of criticism at times, but I think at the moment you are seeing the best of James Tavernier. I really do believe that in that centre back role. Maybe don't mean in terms of his attributes, but I just think given his all for the team, I thought he was great again tonight, and that's that bit of quality that you would always expect from James Tavernier. There's never been a problem going forward. Delivery's really good, set pieces, and he showed that again there, and Raskin gets it at the back post. So yeah, really, really good for Rangers to get going in that first half. I thought there's maybe not a lot to speak about for the rest of the first half, Tommy. I thought both teams had chances. Dessers has a goal ruled out of the back post for offside. It looked tight from our angle. Obviously, we're going to believe that it definitely is offside. We won't question any VAR decision tonight. But yeah, good movement from him. And unfortunately, he doesn't get that goal. I think he made up for it the second half, which we'll jump into now. Yeah. Just before we come to Rangers' second goal, it's probably worth talking about that chance that USG have right at the start, where it's a great ball in behind, and I think Jack Butland he's quite hesitant at the moment. I think in all aspects of his play. I think even balls into the box, he doesn't look as commanding. He looks like he's second guessing things. We've seen it at St Mirren earlier this season where he came charging out, gets caught in two
Old Trafford didn't help him with that.
Yeah, exactly. So he's struggling a little bit at the moment, Jack Butland, and I think that was evident again. We'll talk about the McAllister header later on in terms of maybe he should have done a little bit better, but I thought that USG should have probably taken the lead. They go around the goalkeeper. It's a great block from James Tavernier again.
He does brilliant, and then we're scrambling just to.
And Ivanovic should probably score. He tries like a kind of scoop finish, and he puts it over the bar. So, what did you make of that chance and kind of Butland overall at the moment?
Well, I think you've covered a lot of the things there quite rightly. Jack Butland's shown some of the flaws in his game. Right? People are seeing that. Is he still a good goalkeeper? Yeah, he is. Does he have things that are needing to be worked on and some flaws in his game and some confidence issues right now? Yeah, absolutely. For some of the reasons you've just said there. He goes, I don't think he's to blame for, getting the player going round him or anything like that. But he's hesitant in the come out. And then, as you said, James Tavernier working hard as hell, gets back, does the block, and then it's all hands to the pump. And you live through moments like that. You ride your luck a wee bit in nights like tonight, and you go, they could have had something and they had a wee bit more quality. But that goes for any team. As it is, they didn't take the chance. And you go, right, pack that one away. But yeah, James Tavernier worked like hell tonight, and maybe that's the key point. He got back and he's positioned into that centre-back place to be able to cover. Isn't half bad, actually. Yeah, actually, I think the question's always been about James Tavernier as his one-on-one defending, but actually positionally at centre-back, he looks to kind of really understand that role, which is not something you would really expect from an attacking-minded fullback. It's just, maybe it comes with age and experience, right? You kind of just understand what's required in certain areas. And could also be he's veteran, for want of a better way of putting it, centre-back partner, Robin Proper, talking him through the game. Yeah, could be. And I think that's maybe... I was giving some praise to Robin Proper because again, I thought tonight he done well as well. I thought he might do that without sounding too grudging. Yeah, he put his body in the line a few times tonight. And I think that's something that he's shown in recent weeks. So there's I might go through the whole team and give them praise here. So I'll steady on. Let's talk about that second goal. And I think this is a good chance to talk about Cyril Dessers maybe overall in terms of. I think you're getting more out of him as a player now. I think this is what we've always spoken about in terms of if you play someone close to him and you kind of negate those attributes that you don't like around his game and you let him focus on the thing he's good at, you do have a good player there, right? And I think you've seen that in the second half. It was actually very similar to the kind of run he had against Aberdeen a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, that's a good shout. Really, really good ball carrier, actually, Cyril Dessers. It's one of the qualities he has. He does really well. He stretches the game. He dives right down the left-hand side and he cuts it across for Czerny and it's a really good finish. But I think it's a good finish from Czerny, of course, but I think all the praise there has to go to Cyril Dessers, I think. Oh, yeah, he puts it on a plate, and if Czerny doesn't score it, you're just talking about Czerny's miss, all that good work. It's a really good point as well, in that point with Cyril Dessers or any striker, if they're not scoring goals or they're missing big chances, nobody tends to look at the rest of their game. Yeah. Right, they just get put in the bin. We're all guilty of it a lot of the time, right? But he's always been able to run the channels. He's always been able to create space, and he's always been able to, pull defences apart and make good runs. Now you're seeing, to your point as well, the attributes of he can actually hold it up. His touch is getting a little bit better. There's obviously a lot of confidence flowing through him. And I remember, when Cyril Dessers signed, the comments from people who'd played with him or managed him were, this is a player who can flick in and out of confidence. But when you get a confidence to Neil Dessers, his snap finishes, his touch is great, he looks amazing. We're in that purple patch right now. Enjoy it, because like any player, he'll drop out of form, right? But right now he is, as you said, he's building defence, he's running the channels, he's carrying the ball really, really well. He's getting his head up and then finding the right pass.
Yeah.
And he's finishing fantastically at the moment as well. So, yeah, if your striker's up there and he's creating goals and he's scoring goals, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
I think so, and I think you made a lot of good points here. I think we've simplified this game a little bit.
Constantly sound surprised every time you say that.
Yeah, well, no comment.
All right.
But I honestly do think we've just asked it. Strangely, we've asked a little bit less of him. We don't need you to kind of dominate a whole back line now. Mm-hmm. I think Igaman, even though he played on that left hand side tonight, I think he did. He does make a difference with Dessers, that he can be the kind of guy that drops into space, holds the ball, flicks on. It's more about the build up, and Dessers is kind of left to be the goal scorer. Right?
I totally agree with that. That physicality he gives to the defenders. Yeah.
And I think that is why there is serious interest in Cyril Dessers, because if you put the right players around him, you have a goal scorer there. He's proved that with his numbers. I'm still not convinced he's the long-term answer for Rangers, but if he keeps performing that way, I think it's going to be very difficult for Rangers to replace him in this window, because you're looking at the output you're getting from the current striker. And
but look at what you get, right? So that's fine. I think most people might probably agree with you on that. Is he the long-term answer? But the worst-case scenario you get with this type of form is he's scoring goals, and then eventually you make some money. Or you get your money back, depending, right? But that's the worst-case scenario. I think most people live with that, because there was a point in time where people thought we were going to have to rip up contracts and pay off, And
we've had a few of those lately.
Yeah, exactly. We can't, get a full 11 of them sometimes. But, ultimately, he's doing the business, to your point, which is why other teams in other leagues with various different, quality levels are sitting up and going, yeah, that guy can score goals.
There's value there.
Yeah, maybe we go in for him. The thing to Rangers' long-term point, and to your point, and everybody else's point is, at what element do Rangers actually cash in? Because we've had a problem systemically of not cashing in at the right time. And do you cash in the purple patch? That's the point.
If you're serious about this model we're going for, if you get offered 3.5-4 million for a 30-year-old, you sell him.
Ruthless.
It's simple as that. But he deserves all the praise tonight.
Yep.
He deserves a lot of credit for that second goal. I thought he was wonderful in the goal. Honestly, I really do.
Yeah, you were right.
I thought he was brilliant, and he definitely deserves the credit. I'm going to talk about the negative first, because I want to finish on positives, because I think it deserves it tonight. Let's just talk about that USG.
I'm going to call that personal growth.
Right. Let's just talk about that USG goal. I actually think in isolation it is a fantastic header.
Yeah.
If you score from a header from the edge of the 18-yard box, you're obviously doing something right. At the same time, I'm not sure you want your goalkeeper to be getting beat by a header from the 18-yard box. You can see both sides of this, right?
Yeah, you can have both those things be true.
We've just watched it back before we started talking. What do you think? Do you think Jack Butland should have done a little bit better, or are we just going to put it down to it's a fantastic header from McAllister?
No, happy to be honest. When I first saw it, I thought that's a cracking header. That's where the weight of my expectation was. And then I saw the replay, and I thought, oh, Butland could just be a wee bit better there.
Just a wee bit too far off his line, I think. But again, I always find these conversations interesting, because then you'll listen to goalkeepers, because it's a very different role in football. You'll listen to goalkeepers analyse these type of things, and they'll go, you don't know what you're talking about. His position is fine there.
Yeah, and so, he's expecting McAllister to take it down and bust it in the box. But no, I'm with you. It's hard to look at that from that distance. I mean, McAllister's virtually on the 18-yard line.
Honestly, it's some header. And to generate the power in it as well, to look it over the goalkeeper. Really
great technique, as you say, great technique, but you're looking at it again in the replay and you're thinking, is it the positioning? Is it the way Butland stretches for it? It just doesn't feel like one that should hit the back of the net, because it's not a massive angle. Yeah. Because I first thought, maybe he's caught him with the angle and it goes right across him, but it's actually fairly on top of him. So I'm not going to be uber negative about it, but I think maybe Jack Butland will be unhappy with himself.
Yeah, well, part of that, that's the last negative of this podcast. I just wanted to talk about it because it was a talking point. It was a talking point in the Gansey. I'm sure it was a talking point on social media as well. We've all got our group chats and they're all firing, saying Butland's got to do better, and some wild shoots in there. He needs to go, get him out. We need a better goalkeeper. So
tell me that's not this side.
These things happen all the time. Okay, so let's finish on some positives. I'll ask you for your man of the match at the end of this, Tommy. I just wanted to pick out John Souttar returning tonight. Thought that was a good sign. I thought he looked really good actually for being out for 6 weeks. I didn't look like a player that'd been out for 6 weeks. Actually,
no, there was a moment where I think USG burst through, and it was literally 1-on-1, and he tracked the guy really well, got him down, and then managed to get it away. And you thought, there wasn't a lot of rust.
I thought we looked a lot more assured defensively. I understand USG got a goal and they cut us through a few times, but I didn't feel as nervous at central areas with John Souttar back. I just felt we looked a lot more confident. Yeah. And that's a really obvious thing to say, right? You've just brought one of your number one centre-back back onto the park. You're expecting to see that. So I thought that was really good.
So just on that, though, because we've all been there with Rangers where there's games, it goes into the last couple of minutes and we're needing the result and we've conceded and it gets really nervy. I felt tonight that maybe it's part of that sort of stuff. The nervousness was from the stands, not from the team going further back or losing lots of chances.
Rangers continue to play the same way, actually.
I felt it was more us being nervous on their behalf than them creating a nervousness in the stadium.
I would agree with that. So I'll ask you for your man of the match. Just wanted to pick out a couple of players I thought should maybe be up for that. I thought Hamza Egeman again tonight, some of his touches, that one in the first half when he flicks it over the boy's head. You're just, I think at times I maybe thought in the second half actually got a little bit too comfortable and was trying a few things that you maybe thought, I think you're tired now and you're just kind of trying this.
Save that for the fives.
And I'm not surprised he was taken off. But a few more in there. I thought Raskan was great again. James Tavernier, we spoke about, at centre back, doing really, really well. Mohamed Diamande is the one I want to pick out. I think you're now starting to see the player I think we thought we were getting. I think Mohamed Diamande is actually starting to contribute both ways. And I think he's shown a lot more energy now and a lot more willingness to be the guy that makes that decisive action. He's willing to run in behind and create space for others. He's also willing to take the ball in the half turn and drive forwards. He'll try and play a slide rule pass. He'll try and take a shot. And he's willing to get his foot in as well. I just think overall, you're now starting to see the best of Mohamed Diamande. He's definitely one I would put up for man of the match as well. What's your thoughts?
Don't know if I'd go all the way with the man of the match stuff there, although I agree he's getting better and better. I think he's one just because of his development kind of trajectory that he'll continue to frustrate. But I think everybody knows, I'm well on record of saying
frustrates you because you know the abilities there, right?
Asset. He's an absolute asset. Yeah, absolutely. Because you know that there's better things to come. From Diamande, and if we're starting to see that so much, the better. And credit to himself and the management team and the coaching staff for getting that better out of him. But I think I tweeted this out as well on this is Ibrox, which is you can talk about Raskin. There you go, just for you.
Thank you.
You can talk about some of those other players. I'm going to stick with Raskin. All those other players that you've mentioned there, right? But put it out on the channel. I'm going to stick with Cyril Dessers. There was a reason why he was getting chants from the stands at the end there after the final whistle of nice one, Cyril. People clapping him. The players, when they were doing the lap at the end there, and they came round this part in the corner, they were starting to walk away, and then they pushed Cyril Dessers back towards the stands to take some of that acclaim. He's been through a bit of the mill. Everybody realised what he gave up.
He's definitely well liked in that squad.
He was my man of the match tonight.
Yep, that's a good shout. You've actually probably convinced me that Cyril Dessers deserves it as well. Just for that second goal, it was one of those moments where I'm up and applauding. I just thought it was brilliant.
It's a great run. He gets his head up. He doesn't tire. He doesn't snap at
you. Got to remember the level you're at here, right? This is European football. That is not an easy thing to do, to drive, hold off your man, turn him inside out, play the ball across. That's the decisive actions you want. And you got to look at it that way. If that was Hamza Egeman, everyone would be going crazy, right?
Absolutely.
And that's not to downplay Hamza Egeman at all. I think it's just sometimes we maybe don't look at things as fondly because a certain player does it.
You're absolutely. I think
we're all guilty of that.
Yeah, you're spot on with that. And it's not as if Czerny has to take a touch of that ball or anything like that.
Yeah,
he just has to run on it.
Yeah,
Dessers does everything right from the moment he picks the ball up. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just finish on the qualification itself. Top 8, not expected coming into tonight. I think, to be fair, I think a lot of fans would have just turned up tonight, wanted to win and see what happens. And I think it was Rangers required 5 of the 8 results to go their way. I don't know what it ended up being. It could have been more than that, right? But I think it was 5 out of 8 they required. They were just waiting for the Anderlecht and Hoffenheim game to finish at the end. I think Anderlecht ended up losing 4-3 at home. Bodo conceded a late goal to Nice as well. And it was moving all night. I'm sure everyone was watching.
Everybody was in
standings.
FCSB, Olympiacos, it was all kind of jumping about.
So fantastic. I think tonight Rangers earned about 400,000, I think, for the win. I think that's roughly what you get for a win in the Europa League. And it looks like they earned about €4.5 million. So my conversion's not great, maybe about £3.5 million, right?
Slightly more, but no.
So, I mean, that could make the difference when it comes to January signings. I think it's a debate for another podcast. I think now that the club are trying to be the one that sign players and not managers. But if I'm Philippe Clement, I'm knocking on the door tomorrow and saying we've just secured a top 8 finish. There's £3.5 million coming in. Yeah, I would like to go out there and at least sign a player.
I don't even think it's tomorrow. Yeah, I think he's on the WhatsApp.
He'll be in there now. Yeah. But ultimately, it's turned out to be a really successful evening, and Rangers get automatically in the last 16. That is massive.
Yeah, you're right. And so if I take the money stuff for once, because that really interests me to one side, it's all that other momentum.
Yeah.
So just slowly but surely, positivity's flowing back through the place. It's been really dark towards the end of last year. The board had to stand firm against the fans' protests and, general feeling of get Clement out. All of a sudden, things are just feeling a bit better. Getting qualifications, quite a big thing given the draw that we had.
Yeah.
And then you're saying, right, okay, we're starting to see players starting to perform, starting to see a bit of gelling, add a bit more quality, getting players out the door. Yeah, it's a bit more positive than people thought it could be.
And another big thing I think that's helping everyone at the moment is the opportunities for the young players.
Yeah, people are loving that.
A lot of academy players getting opportunities. We've seen Lovelace come onto the park tonight, and CEO come on as well, who looks a good player, actually. And I think there's not been a lot of chat around him, and he actually looks a really good player. So, yeah, I think that's really helping with everyone kind of buy into things again, and it's maybe giving Clement a wee bit more time, and it's he's starting to. It looks like he's making decisions for the long term, which I think earlier in the season there was arguments to say, okay, you're talking about projects, but we're not really seeing that selection-wise. But I think now you're actually starting to see that, and I think everyone's buying into it. So, young squad out to there tonight, inexperienced in some areas. You're asking Ross McCausland to play it right back for a lot of the game, and Rangers has secured a top 8 finish. And just to finish on that, based on the draw we got, that it really is a magnificent 100%. Achievement, really. And I'd be surprised if Philippe Clement isn't highlighting that in his press conference after the game to say, look what we had to go through. Yeah. We made it to the top 8. A lot of good teams in there. Top 8 in that competition is no mean feat. So
just an important line to that as well, though, is I think you would have to be pretty bitter or pretty trite to look at that and say Rangers overall for all their performances didn't deserve it.
Oh, certainly
not just tonight, but just across the entire piece. As you say, the draw that was there. It's not as if we've just, by the numbers wise, we've just snuck in. But performance-wise, it would have been a little bit unfair for Rangers not to get the automatic, and we've done it. We've done what we needed tonight, and we've got a wee bit of luck with our results. And it's about time we got a bit of luck.
It's definitely about time we got a bit of luck.
I was trying to watch words. I was going to
get a wee bit more luck when it comes to injuries. That would be absolutely fantastic. We'd all be starting to get really back in enjoying watching Rangers again. But yeah, we'll call it there, Tommy. That was a good summary of the game, good analysis. Thanks for joining me. We will be back this weekend. Sunday is the game? Yeah, we'll be back on Sunday with no, we won't do a post-match. We'll do a podcast on a Sunday night. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, Sunday evening. No post-match on a Sunday.
Yeah, 7:30 we'll be back. We'll have all the analysis. Do you want to tell me who we're playing? I think it's Ross County.
It's Ross County.
Yeah, there we go. See, I know my stuff. Thanks.
I'm no question myself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Ross County. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. Rangers are into that top 8, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.